Welcome to Samhain Witchcamp. To initiate our weekend celebrating Samhain, we began with a lantern forest walk that led to an altar where we could light a flame to honor this seasonal descent into the darkness. Then Jen, our witch camp founder, led us into a sound ceremony before we spent our first night by the roaring fire. Samhain marks a time where we begin a descent into the womb of the earth. And for many of us, the healing work that we are called to do during this time allows us to create the space for our inner flame to grow so that we can become our own lantern through the dark days ahead. And for many witches and pagans, Samhain is a potent time for connecting with the spirit world. So this year, the theme of our Samhain Witch Camp was the veil, and the main event would see us receiving messages from beyond the veil of the spirit realms. A new part of the Samhain Witch Camp this year was a healing tent. Many of the practitioners attending camp offered their services in exchange for small gifts, similar to the gifts that we might put in the witch market for trading. Some of the offerings included Reiki, divination, a foot bath, and a treatment called access bars. The healing tent was a place of solace for those who had been struggling this year, leading up to the transformative shifts Samhain brings. When I had my access bars session, Gabrielle received messages from my spirit team, my past lives, and my timelines that seemed to reignite me in a way. The information that she shared with me resonated so deeply, it was almost surreal. I felt this excitement about my path ahead, knowing that I was finally going to be able to explore myself and my craft in a way I had never been able to do while my past stories had such a tight grip on me. But now I was in the state of transition, moving from old to new, and I was having all of these fathomings about where I was in that present moment. So I just went into the healing tent and had a couple different sessions. I did Reiki with Shadali, and I also had a access bars session with Gabrielle, and I've been wanting to do this with her for a long time because I really trust her intuition. And access bars is where you access different meridians within the body and the mind that hold belief systems and thought forms and stories. And she was saying intuitively she was receiving messages about my deep, deep connections to islands. She was saying that I have a very deep connection to Hawaii. I've never even been to Hawaii, but I've been receiving messages from Hawaiian spirits this whole year. In my teacher training, they're teaching us about the prayer of Ho'oponopono. And my last DMT session, I was blessed by a Hawaiian spirit. And she said that I'm being called to the Hawaiian Islands. She also said I'm being called to Salt Spring. And she had no idea that I have been journeying with Salt Spring Island for the last year and a half. She was saying that this is a part of my lineage as a priestess. receiving wisdom from the islands, and that this goes back to the age of Atlantis, age of Lemuria, which really makes sense for me. And if you remember at the last witch camp, I pulled a card about my past life as a witch, and it said burned, persecuted, age of Atlantis. There's just so many things happening for me because I have been clearing my channel. Yeah, the last witch camp the theme was rebirth, and I was rebirthing on my own path at that time, and now here I am at the next witch camp as this new version of myself, or the most clear version of myself. One more thing, the theme of this Samhain witch camp is the veil, naturally. And they have organized a huge event for us later today where we are entering into a veil and receiving messages from spirit guides, ancestors, and loved ones that have passed. And they are giving us the opportunity to receive 5 messages from loved ones. And so I've chosen to receive messages from all of my familiars that have passed, Soot, Noelle, and Binks, as well as my great-great-grandmother Lily, and also my grandpa Art. So this is where the veil is going to be. Before the veil event, we gathered to give Jen a collective gift to show her our gratitude, and then we feasted away on a community potluck. After dinner, I had a chance to ask a couple of witches about their Samhain practices. Do you have any Samhain practices or spiritual protection things that you do?
Well, this time of year, because the veil is so thin, I do like to introduce myself to the land, especially coming to an event like this. So I brought an offering and I said my name and my lineage and my intentions and thanked the land for accepting me, allowing me to be on this space, this sacred space for the weekend. But this time of year, apart from witch camp, I like to work with the ancestors. I wear a lot of clothing, articles of jewelry or adornments that I can keep on my body, on my person, and think about those ancestors to call in the energy and speak to them what it is that I've been up to in the past year.
Ashley,
Hi.
do you want to tell us about any Samhain practices that you have or spiritual protection? I know this is your first year journeying with the Wheel of the Year, is that right?
Yeah, and it hasn't been as committed as I was hoping to.
That's okay.
Life definitely threw some curveballs, but I've been very mindful of it throughout. First thing that I've done since I was young, because I have always had energies latch on to me, is every night and every morning I wrap myself in the pure white light of love and protection. So I imagine this light wrapping up around myself. I now do it for my kids as well, my dog, even my house. And that's just sort of like an energetic barrier that's always with me. I use crystals. I love either tourmaline or smoky quartz or obsidian. I always have one at the entrance of my house.
Those are 3 of the big whammy spiritual protection crystals.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Absolutely.
Great. It was finally time to prepare for the ceremony ahead. We all brought offerings for the spirits that we would be receiving messages from. I brought a rock that another witch had left on my ancestral cairn in my enchanted forest. I also pulled a card and got the wasp, which is actually my protector power animal, and it really made me feel grounded and at ease going into such a high energy event. As we started, the bats came out and they were flying really low. It felt like an invitation from the divine to step into the mystery of the darkness ahead. Jen's coven, the Weavers, were hosting this event and acting as the conduits between ordinary reality and the spirit realms, and they would be delivering our messages for us in a silent ceremony. So to begin conjuring the magic, they cast a circle between them to initiate the ceremony. Then we burned witches' torches made by Karen. She used mullein stalks, wax, and ashes from rosemary to craft these beautiful torches for all of us. We all walked with our torch around the tent for the main event 3 times to infuse the space with our collective and individual intentions. Within the ceremony space, we met the Weavers on the edge of the veil. We handed them our offerings, and then one by one wrote down the names of the spirits we wanted to connect with. And with each name, they lit a white candle, and they brought us a message and placed them in a box to take home and open when they called us. After each of us took our turn in the veil, we all met within a gathering spot that the Weavers had created for us so that we could do some manifestation crafts and have some late night snacks. Each of us got a little card at our place setting, and mine was the Tower card, which is the card I connect to the most in tarot, and it is my spiritual number, 16. But instead of the tower burning down as traditionally depicted, it was beaming light. And I never seen the tower depicted like this, and it felt like a real validation for the space that I was entering into with this Witch's New Year. Then, through the night, Emily led us through a circle of songs as we sat by the fire, which is always one of my favorite parts of gathering with the witches.
The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. Aye, 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 oh, aye, oh, aye, oh, aye, oh. Aye, 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 oh, aye, oh, aye, oh, aye, oh. Merry meet and merry part, and merry meet again. Circle we open, mud on broken. Peace of the goddess, the adder in your heart. Merry meet
final day, we did a collective cleanup and carried on creating magical memories. I'm going to show you now what I've gotten at the witches market so far, and I've also been given a few gifts, so let's check it out. I got this Wheel of the Year plate, which is perfect timing because my first class that's launching is about the Wheel of the Year, so this is awesome. I also got this really cute wizard picture frame that reminds me of this ring that I had growing up. And then my friend Taylor made this bracelet for me, little friendship bracelets. And my friend Jenny gave me this ocean drum. I've also been giving away these necklaces I used to make. Soul and Celine is closed now, but these are the crystals I used to make. I was preserving flowers and dead things. This is lavender. I'm not making these anymore, so I'm just giving them away. Here's a rosemary one, which is really fitting for Samhain because rosemary is such an ancestral herb. Before everyone started heading out, Chatterley guided the group into a cold plunging ceremony. After many hugs goodbye, we did our closing ceremony and provided a space for those who needed some extra emotional support as they headed into the darkness of Samhain. The ending of this camp was different than all the others. A small group of us volunteers got to stay one more night. It ended up being all women, and we had the most beautiful night on the beach. It was one of those rare nights under the stars where the earth was quiet, and she seemed to create a portal for us to gather around a beach fire, dance naked under the moon, sing Emily's songs, share secrets, and forget that time existed for a little while. Something pretty remarkable and unbelievable happened. As I was going to bed in my tent, I was pulling oracle cards to end the weekend, and I pulled the Ancestors card. And as I pulled my card from the deck, an owl landed beside my tent and let out a call so unbelievably loud and startling that it felt like I had an out-of-body experience. It was such a mystical and haunting way to end our weekend communing with the spirit world beyond the veil. On our very last morning, our group of women took the ancestral offerings into the forest and created a nature altar. We took our time moving through emotions, finishing stories, and sharing our musings. So the last of us are just getting ready to go. Last night we stayed behind. Some of the ladies, we all stayed behind and had an extra night, as you saw, and it was just so magical, so beautiful. I don't even know how to use words to describe the feeling of being free to roam naked with a group of women and circle around a fire and share secrets and stories and be able to create the space for us to cycle through different emotions and just, different things all within a short amount of time. It's just so unbelievably beautiful, and to have been able to experience our intentional Samhain community through the weekend, and then to have had this decompression with just the women, it's just so amazing. I feel so grounded, and I am just so grateful. I don't even know what to say. There's so much to say about how my last Samhain witch camp went and this one. I feel like they're threads. I feel like one was a different spectrum and this was a different spectrum. They were both combined. So if you haven't seen my last Samhain witch camp video, I definitely recommend you go watch that story and see how it informs maybe how I'm cycling through this Samhain. I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for watching this video, this story. Everyone here is just so unbelievably grateful that people are inspired by our gatherings and feel inspired to create something like this or search for a community because they are inspired by what we're doing. We feel like you guys are on a journey with us, and we are just so grateful that these videos reach you and that you comment and that you connect with us. So thank you so much for coming on this Samhain witch camp journey with me. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye.